Come on in, pull up a chair, and take a load off because today I'll be reviewing and sharing a bit of a how to play for Quetzal from Gigamic Games. Is this lightweight worker placement game of artifact hunting going to be a perfect fit for gamers of all stripes? Or if you play Quetzal, will you feel like you've been raided for a lost hour? Well, you're going to find out right after this. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. As mentioned in the open, I'm going to be reviewing Quetzal in just a moment. But first, I do want to thank everyone out there once again for all the kind thoughts and prayers that have been sent my way regarding my recent triple bypass surgery. It's been just over 6 weeks since the surgery. In fact, I'm just about to start my cardiovascular rehab. And the doctors do say that I am well ahead of the curve. So big thumbs up. So once again, thank you so much for all those kind thoughts and prayers. They really do mean a lot to me. They really do. So today I am going to be reviewing Quetzal, which is from Gigamic Games. It's available here in the US from Hachette Games. It's designed by Alexandre Garcia, with art provided by Nastia Lane, or Len. My apologies for mispronouncing anybody's name there. This game is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 15 minutes per player, and does carry an MSRP of $34.99. Swing on over to the other camera because I've got Quetzal set up. So we're going to kind of dive right on in. First of all, this game was provided to me for review from Hachette Games. But I do want to mention, no one affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share my thoughts about this game with you. These days, it's very, very important that you understand that. So Quetzal is essentially an artifact hunting game. So each of the players represents kind of an Indiana Jones, or if you swing that way, a Belloc sort of character who's looking to obtain different artifacts and to sell them to the ship captains that are located at the dock, or dispose of them through the black market. And that is pretty much what you're going to be doing in this worker placement game. So before I jump into how to play, let's talk a little bit about the component quality, because it is very nicely done. So the artwork is very cool. I like the artwork throughout. I will point out this board is kind of busy, and it is very easy for your eye to kind of get lost in the board when you're looking for the different areas to place your workers. There are 10 locations on this board where you can place your meeples. But outside of that, everything is really, really nicely done. Everything is nice, thick cardstock. This is a nice, thick board. The cards themselves have a linen finish. They are kind of your traditional Eurogame size card. And we've got these meeples. So these meeples represent the character, which is a large one there that's in full color. And then depending on the number of players, you will have a number of workers. So I'm using as an example here, we're doing a 4-player game. So we would get 5 of these meeples. Now, these meeples either represent archaeologists or adventurers. And the way you're going to find out what you have available to you is you are going to roll these meeples. I know people are going to think, that's a little strange. You're rolling meeples. Yes, you're going to roll meeples. So and I'll show you. I'll roll them in a moment. I thought it was kind of goofy myself. Everybody who's played this with me kind of gets a kick out of it. So, and it doesn't bother me. I just think it's kind of weird. That's all. It's a little strange. Also, something else I should mention is that just by taking a look at the board here, you might think that this is a far meatier game than it is. This is a lightweight worker placement game. This is pretty easy to learn, jump right into, and start playing. Also, for a 2-player game, there is a like 3rd-player bot, which is represented using these cards, and it's actually pretty cool. I have played it with 2 players and the AI bot, and it's pretty unintrusive as well. So it doesn't throw you off your game, because sometimes you'll have different games where it's a 2-player game and then there's like a 3rd-player bot that you have to use, and every time the players have to take time out of their own turns to worry about what the bot is doing. That's not the case here at all. All right, so we'll tour around the board as well here. So we've got our victory point track. So essentially, whoever's got the most victory points at the end of the game is the winner. In the case of a tie, it is a shared victory. There is no tiebreaker. So essentially what's going on is we have 5 days to go into the jungle and to get as many artifacts as we possibly can. So essentially we've got 5 turns. This is our turn marker here. We also have another track up here that's going to get us bonus coins and upgrades, as well as victory points, and we can move along this track. So we've got this track up here. We got our victory point track over here as well. So we got our meeples. We also, each player will have a character card, a character board, which these are the upgrades here. And as you earn upgrades, you can place them alongside your character board. And that's essentially all this does. But they do have some pretty cool artwork. I will zoom in towards the end of the video to give you a better look at the cards and the meeples and the player boards and such. So what you're going to do, once again, this is a worker placement game. So to start off, each player is going to roll their meeples. And give you an example. That is going to be an archaeologist. That is an archaeologist. This is an adventurer. If they end up on their sides, then it's wild. I can make it whatever I want. And you want to make sure that you leave your meeples the way that they were rolled. You don't have to select what these are yet. These are considered to be wild. If it ended up standing up, I would get a coin for each meeple that was standing up upright. So we have coins, and the funny thing is, you're not earning coins by selling your artifacts. You're actually earning coins in other ways, and you have to pay coins to go to certain locations. So that might seem a little unusual for some people, but you can kind of look at it like, well, those are the resources we've had to expend to be able to get to the temple or to go and try to get an upgrade. So let's tour around the board. I'll show you what we've got. So this location here, this is for the first player. So you can place an archaeologist here, and you will be the first player for the next round. If you are the first player, you may not put a meeple there. So that's important to keep in mind as well. So we also have a camp here. So essentially, you'll notice we have color codes for our meeples here. So right here, these have to be adventurers. These are adventurer meeples that go there. These are archaeologist meeples that go here. So if it's showing black and white, that means it's either or. So, and we have different kinds of locations. So we have unique locations where essentially you'll assign a worker and pay coins if you need to pay coins or what have you to place your worker. And those are this color here. They kind of have like a beige background color. Now here, a darker kind of rust color. These are bidding locations. So it's the number of meeples. Whoever's got the most is going to actually get to take the action from these locations. And then we have green. which are free. Any kind of meeple can go there, and any number of meeples can be placed there as well. So here we have the temple. So the temple is one of the main locations that we're going to be able to get our artifacts. And you'll see it's numbered 1 to 5. So if you go lower down, you're going to get fewer cards, but it's also cheaper for you to go there. So as an example, the number 1 slot is 5 coins, which is kind of like your starting coins for like a 4-player game. And that's going to allow you to get 2 cards. Down here, it's only 1 coin, and you can put an adventurer there or an archaeologist, and you would get 1 card. So what's going to happen is once all the workers are placed, then we're going to activate what's going on in a specific order of the actions that we've placed our workers out there for. So we've got that. Then we've got some different locations here. These are the bidding locations where if we're the high bidder, we get both these cards. So we'll receive both of them if we are the high bidder. So with these locales, how this works is on my turn, I could say, okay, I'm placing an adventurer here. And then on the next player's turn, they could say, well, I'm going to place 2 adventurers here. And that kicks me out. So, but I would get this meeple back that I could use later on this turn. It's not wasted. So I could later on decide, well, I'm going back and I'm going to use 3 adventurers, and that would boot that player out. So whoever's got the most is who's going to occupy this. You're not going to have a ton of meeples in these locations at all. Now, you could have tons of meeples of various different players in these 2 locations here. Here, essentially, you put a meeple there, and you're going to gain a coin. Here, this is going to allow you to sell 3 cards, and we'll get into the selling of the artifacts. So you can sell 3 artifacts, and essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a set. It is a set collecting mechanic to this to get the most victory points. So you can also do that on the ships, and the ships will allow you up to 6 cards, being able to sell 6 cards. But if you notice, these are also bidding locations. And when you're placing meeples in these bidding locations, they have to be the same type. I couldn't sit there and say, okay, so I'm going to boot the blue player out with an adventurer and an archaeologist and my wild. I can't do that. It would have to be all the same. So just as an example. So up here, this is pretty interesting because these are essentially upgrades. So we've got these hexes, these hexagonal tiles that will either give us a special ability that we continue to use throughout the game, or it might be a one-shot that we get to do, and then it's worth victory points at the end. So down on the bottom, that's going to indicate how many victory points that upgrade is worth at the end of the game. If it has an X on it, that means it's a one and done. So as an example, this tile here, if I got this upgrade, I would be able to move my marker along on this track. So as you can see on this track, that would give me a coin. That gets me a victory point. That gets me an upgrade. That gets me 2 coins. That gets me 4 victory points. That gets me 6 victory points. So, and the victory points can be pretty tight in this game as well. One thing to also keep in mind is that wherever you are on the track is where you get to pick. So as an example, if I spent 1 coin and I sent one of my, let's say, I'm not doing that. I sent my adventurer here, and then later turn, the blue player spends 2 coins and they put their adventurer there, they're going to pick ahead of me. They're going to choose first. Same thing happens here. So early on, first round or so, nobody's going to be up in this number 1 spot because they're not going to have the coins, really. Probably not going to have the coins to get up there. But we may see things like this. So the blue player would choose from the supply here before I get to. So it goes in the order of the different meeples that have been laid out. So as an example, kind of give you a better feel for this as well. So if I sell any 3 pottery, and there are different icons in the upper corner of these cards, you'll get a better look when I zoom in. But if anytime I sell 3 pottery, I will get a coin and 3 victory points. And this is an ongoing benefit that I will get. So as an example, if I were to get that upgrade, I would place it like so on my player board. You can only have 2 active upgrades at one time. Now, you can have multiple upgrades that have the one and done for all those victory points, but you can only have 2 active upgrades at one time. So what you're going to do is everybody's going to go around and they're going to place their workers. So once everybody's placed their workers, they're going to move on to the 3rd phase. And the 3rd phase is activating the locations. So there is a specific order you're going to activate. And essentially what's going to happen is the players are going to get these cards before we activate the areas where they can sell those cards, where they can take it either to the black market, or they can take it to the quartermaster's office, or over on the ships. The ships are last. Ships are the final. So this gives you an opportunity to get your cards and create your sets for you to be able to sell, and then be able to kind of dive in and get your victory points from your sets that you have sold. Once everybody has done that, every location's been activated, then you're just going to kind of reset. It's kind of a cleanup phase. You're going to refill these areas here with more cards. We've got the deck of cards over here. You're going to replace upgrades that were taken from the tiles here, which are randomly shuffled up and placed, so that everything's refilled to start the next round. And of course, whoever has the first player marker is going to get to go first. Whoever finishes the game with the first player marker will get 2 victory points. There are some additional little victory points at the end of the game that you're going to track, and this is 2 of them right there. And in essence, that's pretty much the game. You're going to go around, you're going to collect these cards. You're going to go into this area here, and hopefully you've collected sets that are worth victory points, and you'll be able to sell. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to move my mic here real quick, because the camera is actually fairly high up to get the whole. This isn't a huge board, and I don't have monster-sized hands, but it's still a little bit bigger than what I usually shoot on this camera with this lens, I should say. So let me zoom in a little bit. All right. So just kind of show you what these cards look like and what these set collecting would be as well. All right. So we'll take all of these that are here. So for an example, that's the pottery there. There's another pottery. So there's different art, but not different art for the types of artifacts. So let's track down another pottery here. There we go. So let's say, as an example, I had collected this set. So what I can do here is I can sell this set, and it'd be very good for me if I happen to have that upgrade at the same time, because these are pottery. So, so what you're looking at is it's going to tell you if you have one, if I sold just one pottery. So as an example, let's say I was on a ship and I could sell 6 cards. If I sold one pottery, I would get 1 victory point. If I have 2, I would get 2 victory points. If I have 3, that gives me 4 victory points. And whenever you sell cards, you always look in the upper right corner because it might give you a special bonus. So for example, these 2 cards here are going to also give me a coin each. So I would not only get my 4 victory points, I would also get 2 coins. Now, depending on what the artifacts are, they can have much higher victory point values. So for an example here, if I had 3 of those, that's worth 10 victory points. 3 of these is worth 7, 8, 5. So they are all a little bit different. And it's kind of cool because you'll see some cards will have a little bonus up there. So that's a bonus. That's an extra victory point. And then other cards don't have anything. So that's kind of cool. I like that aspect of the game as well. That sometimes you're like, well, you know, maybe I'll try to sell these and get fewer victory points, but I get some coins off of these. Now, one thing I should also point out is you could be, let's say I'm at the quartermaster's office, which allows me to sell 3 cards. I can do something like this. I can sell these 2 together, get 2 victory points. That gives me a coin, 2 coins actually. And this would be the 3rd card I'm selling. It's just a single card. It's worth a victory point, but I'd also get the extra victory point up here. So a little bit of strategy as far as selecting the cards from the temple and from the villages as well. Of course, when you have upgrades that give you a special bonus for a particular kind of artifact, then that's really going to help kind of steer you towards, for an example, these are weapons. So you'd be trying to get weapons because you know you're going to get extra coins and extra victory points when you would sell sets of 3. Kind of give you an idea what the meeples look like. Just like so. That's your character meeple, which is kind of funny because he or she has a back. I thought that was kind of funny. So those are the architects. That would be the adventurer. And to kind of show you what the character boards look like. So that's the red player. I always play red. Purple. Green. Blue. And yellow. Nice artwork. Like I said, I like the artwork throughout the game. So actually, that is Quetzal. So let me swing on over to the other camera, and I will share my final thoughts and provide a review score. So as we started to dive in, I mentioned I like light worker placement games. I mean, I like worker placement games. They don't have to be lightweight. Some more recent worker placement games tend to be a little heavier than I want to devote time to sometimes. Because for me, a worker placement game, I think in about an hour. I'd like to finish up in about an hour. So this is not super heavy. This is very easy to jump into and get your feet wet and start playing. And everybody I've played with has had a really good time. I apologize it's taken me so long to actually get this review out there, but with the surgery and with COVID, it has been very, very difficult to get more than 2 people together to play stuff. So finally, I got enough plays in of Quetzal to share my thoughts. Once again, component quality is really nice. And I like the artwork. The board is kind of busy. I also have to point out this is not like some earth-shattering game or revolutionary design or anything like that. It is some tried and true set collecting worker placement mechanics here. The rolling the meeples is something new. It's not something I'm aware of in any other game I've personally played. Like I said, I think it's kind of goofy, but it's not going to affect the review score either way. I just find it a little odd. So at the end of the day, I really do recommend Quetzal. I think it's a fun game. I think it's a nice gateway game. It is not difficult to teach or to understand. I like the fact that we've also got the AI bot for 2-player games. You can go up to 5 players with this as well. Game moves along quickly enough once everybody knows what they're doing and what the locations do. And there's plenty of information in the rule book, which I did not show you. It's only a few pages long, but it's very nicely presented. Didn't have any problem figuring out the game reading through the rule book. But back page has just about everything you need to know, except for the order that you resolve the areas. That I was kind of surprised. I thought for sure it'd be on here, but it's not. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give Quetzal a very solid 7.5 out of 10. Certainly do recommend it. For those of you out there who like heavier games, meatier games, way more strategy, obviously this is not going to be your bag of tricks. But those of us who also enjoy lighter fare that you could bust out with gamers of all ages and all experience levels, Quetzal's a fun time. I've enjoyed it. All right. Once again, do want to point out, Quetzal is available right now. It is here in the U.S. As far as I understand, through Hachette Games. I've seen it on Amazon. Essentially, I've seen that's kind of how you have to get it is through Amazon. It does carry an MSRP of $34.99. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when I upload videos such as this review, it'll also tell you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs right here on YouTube as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Usually we're taking first looks at tabletop games during the live stream. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com. Come on, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you has the opportunity to enjoy a lot of great gaming with your own gang. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel? Or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch? Or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel? And of course, don't forget, get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.